highlight these plays now as we shift towards the back end of the Bengals film. So folks who watch the show regularly, you know how big a fan I am of creeper pressures or simulated pressures. What those are, in case folks don't know, that is when you bring a non-traditional four rusher. So in the simplest sense, imagine you drop a defensive end or defensive tackle from your four-man rush and drop him into coverage, and you replace him with a linebacker. Boom. Okay. And then the difference between a simulated pressure and a simulated pressure is you show the pressure look before the snap. A creeper, you don't. So this one's a creeper because Levante David is going to blitz here, number 54, and the edge player here is going to drop out. So that's why it's a creeper pressure. You're still rushing four. You're going to rush these three plus Levante David back here. So you still have a four-man rush, but you're going to drop that edge off. And the reason it's a creeper, again, is because Levante David is not showing pressure pre-snap. If Levante David was up here or on the edge and he rushed and this defensive end dropped out, it would be a simulated pressure because he's showing pressure pre-snap. The main advantage with simulated pressures is you're showing a pressure look and still bringing pressure, but it's more of a safe form of pressure because you're still only rushing forward. You're not bringing 5 or 6 or 7. You have the opportunity to dictate protection to the offense. You can force them to slide one way, force them to keep in a tight end or running back to block. And then if you're only rushing 4, all of a sudden they just kept in a guy who doesn't need to be in there because you're only rushing 4. Now you have one less getting out into the route distribution for the offense. And then again, from a protection standpoint, you can use an offense's protection rules against them by, okay, let's show this pressure look because we know when we show it, the offensive line is going to slide this way. But then we're going to drop out 1 or 2 of those guys and bring pressure from the other side. And now we have a one-on-one situation created or a potential free runner that's coming down on the quarterback. And again, on top of all of that, you're still able to drop 7 into coverage. Yes, there are some vulnerabilities because you're dropping a non-coverage guy like a defensive lineman into coverage, but there's a lot of pros towards running these simulated pressures and creepers. I'm a huge fan of it. This is a good one for the Bengals. This is what I talked about earlier, or a good one here for the Buccaneers. And this is what I talked about earlier with Bruce. Changing the pre to post snap picture on Burrow, making him hold the ball for a couple extra beats, and then just good design. The Bills use creepers and simulated pressures. I broke it down in the offseason. I broke it down this year. I'm going to show one later. Actually, no, I'm not going to show the one later, but I showed it on Twitter when I broke a play down against the Bears that they use simulated pressures. Simulated pressures and creepers are a part of the Bills defensive playbook. So we'll watch on this snap. Watch David. Loops right around. Bang. Nails Burrow. Ball pops out. Burrow gets back on it. But that's a good play. And again, I have it highlighted. So notice here, notice the slanting from Tryon and then 96 here for the Bucs. Watch them slant inside. They're going to occupy the guard here and the tackle here. And then, like I have highlighted on the other side, his defensive end is going to drop. So again, you're only rushing 4, but you're bringing a non-traditional rusher and you're dropping a traditional rusher into coverage. So watch the teamwork up front. So you get the slants inside. Boom, boom. And this allows David to come scot-free right off the edge. And again, this is where that team defense piece comes in. I want you to watch Tryon Shoyinka. Watch him occupy when he gets through into this gap. He's going to use his right arm and get a hand on the guard, and he's going to keep his left one here on La'el Collins to occupy both of them. And he does that so that way David can come around free. And again, what it does to Burrow, watch Burrow. He looks left because he thinks that's going to be there. If we go at it from the sideline view, he looks to that left side thinking, oh, okay, this route's going to be here. And it's not. Because why? Because that edge player dropped right into where his man was going to be. So now he's got to hold on to the ball a half second longer. Boom, sack. Not rocket science, just good concept, good design, good play call. Again, he goes through his other progressions. His number 1 is taken away, and he's like, all right, cool. Let me go to the other side. And as soon as he turns, he gets popped. Boom. I'm going to go later into this Buccaneers game. So this one now is a simulated pressure. Again, same thing. We're going to drop a defender, but we are going to show pressure pre-snap. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the line. And then we've got Devin White also kind of showing pressure, even though he's still off ball, but he's close enough that he can be considered as a pressure defender. Well, for me at least anyway. You're going to get Levante David down here. He's going to drop like I have highlighted there. And then the edge up here is going to drop. And David is going to, or Devin White in the middle is going to rush. Let's play here. Watch it all play out. Take away his first read. By the time he goes to another, the pressure's there. Huge sack, huge loss. Again, design. You see on the left, drop from the edge, drop from the edge. Then you get a little occupying on the interior from the nose tackle, from that zero tech, which frees up David. This is what the Bills need to do and attack this offensive line. Simulate a pressure piece. Real nice. And then Burrow compounds it by making an interesting scramble decision there. We're going to go to another one. This is a creeper pressure. Same package, same family. This one is combined with a nice coverage piece on the back end. So the two players I've circled, again, you have your 4-down lineman. Tryon Shoyinka is going to drop. Devin White is going to come on the rush. But watch the coverage piece that they do. You're going to get a cover 2 look on the back end. So this post safety, this is a good disguising coverage. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. A good disguising of coverage from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this post safety is going to go to the boundary side as a split field safety. And number 23, who's lined up at corner down here, he's going to drop as the deep safety on this side. The slot corner is going to drop as the cloud corner in the cover 2 look down here. And it confuses Burrow, and he throws an interception. So you get the pressure look, plus coverage on the back end. He thinks he's got a man. Corner jumps it. Again, it's all about making Burrow have to hold on to the ball a little more, but also combining that with getting pressure, confusing him on the back end. Any one of these things, if you can get pressure outright at the snap, cool, you win. If you can make him hold on to the ball a little longer because of good coverage on the back end, cool. And then maybe you can get pressure. If you can make him hold on to the ball because you confused him with coverage and it leads to a sack, cool. If you can confuse him with coverage and get a turnover, cool. The moral and the point of all of it is make Burrow hold on to the ball. And this isn't necessarily unique to Burrow, but with how good his processing is, you need to work to make him hold on to the ball. You have to get creative with your pressure looks and creative with your coverages. The Buccaneers did a good job in this game. Again, their defense kind of got put out because the offense turned it over a gajillion times and in horrible position. But like this concept, this is a really good idea. Like you've shown creepers and simulators throughout this game. Now you do it again, but you mix up the coverage on the back end. Really good concept there from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a good game plan. I liked what the Buccaneers did. It's a shame that they weren't able to get the win in that game based on what happened to them. But, sometimes them's the breaks. This is what Pete says. I just want interior pressure and outside contain. Very fair. Let's go to... Mike says, did the Steelers even have Watt when they beat the Bengals? Yeah, when they beat the Bengals in week 3, they did have TJ Watt. He had a ridiculous interception literally at the line of scrimmage and just jumps up and picks it as Burrow threw it. Watt had a crazy game. So did Minka Fitzpatrick. He had a defensive touchdown in that game. Their studs on defense showed up in that one. Oh, I see people are arguing in the chat. You folks do you. I'm going to keep rolling with this episode, but I appreciate you being here. Again, we have a ton of people in here, over 200 people still. While you're here, if you haven't already, please, and thank you, drop a like on this video. I know it's corny to ask for it, but it goes a sincerely long way towards helping myself and the entire team to track and trend in front of more eyes. So please, and thank you if you would be so kind. Now, I want to show a graphic real quick in talking about the Bills defense. I've alluded to it several times throughout this episode. So this is a graphic I made for the Bills run defense, live by the sword, die by the sword. So if you see on the left there, the Bills, they lead the league, again, from a run defense perspective, they lead the league in missed tackle plus broken tackle percentage versus the run at 16.1%. Second, you'll see who's second, third, fourth, and fifth here, not great defenses. Second are the Texans, third are the Jags, fourth are the Bears, fifth are the Raiders. But then you juxtapose that with what you see on the right side of this graphic. The Bills defense is also fourth in run stuffs, which are runs for 0 or fewer yards, and they're tied for second in tackles for loss. The juxtaposition of these with their missed tackles is a microcosm of their aggressive, penetrating, fast-flowing nature. That's what this Bills defense is. They want to get upfield. They want to make plays in the backfield. They want to put you into negative scenarios, right? So if you run it on 1st and 10, their goal is to turn it into 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13. This isn't really a 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 6 defense, right? They are aggressive. They get upfield, and it's backed up by what you see on the tape, but also with the numbers. They're 4th in the entire league in runs that go for 0 or fewer yards, and they're tied for the 2nd most tackles for loss as a defense. But then they're also at the top of the league 1st in terms of missed tackle and broken tackle percentage versus the run at 16.1%. They are a fast-flowing, aggressive defense. And when you are fast-flowing and aggressive, that's where the live by the sword, die by the sword piece comes in. Sometimes you make big plays, right? Sometimes you get a tackle for loss. Sometimes you get good penetration upfield, and it leads to a sack, or it leads to a huge negative play in the run. Or sometimes you get upfield real fast, and the play goes the other way, and now you've out-leveraged yourself. And instead of getting a 2 or 3 yard tackle for loss, you're giving up a 7 or 8 yard gain. That's what this Bills defense is. They are fast flowing. They are aggressive by nature. And what they do against the run is very live by the sword, die by the sword. So they're out here leading the league in missed tackle, broken tackle percentage versus the run. And then they're also out here with the 4th most, stops for 0 or fewer yards and tied for 2nd in tackles for loss. That's what this Bills defense is. So expect to see that in this game against Cincinnati, but also going forward. That's what the Bills are, right? That's what this defense is. And think about it. If you're just thinking about these Bills games that have happened this year, how many times do you see, oh man, a big chunk run for 8? Oh man, a big chunk run for 13. And then you see a run that's a loss of 4, and now it's 2nd and 14. They want to put you into those disadvantageous situations and then lead on their scheme and who they want to be and what they want to do. So I thought that was a huge, interesting piece in really talking about what this Bills defense was. And in talking about this Bills defense, let's go into some of the tape from this Bears game that I think will be important for what the Bills need to do on defense against the Cincinnati Bengals. And we're going to start here. So share my screen. Let's share the screen here. All right, so this first play, again, we talk about the light boxes and the Bengals being able to get to a lot in their run game from their gun looks. This is very similar to what I showed earlier with that wham play from the Bengals against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not necessarily same look offensively from the Bears, but from the Bills. Remember, you had 4 down linemen. You had L'Jarius Sneed over here. Now it's Trey White. And then you had your 2 linebackers. So you had 6 in the box, but basically kind of 7 because of where L'Jarius Sneed is. When you play these kind of light boxes, you have to win on the defensive line. You have to gum up the works, or you have to get penetration and allow your 2nd and 3rd level players to make a play. That's what happens on this play for the Buffalo Bills. Watch A.J. Epinesa on the snap. I have him highlighted. Watch him slant inside. He's going to get a pulling guard. Wrong arms him. He takes him on inside, sticks that pulling guard, but then he also gums up the works for the pulling tight end here. Done. And then you've got Matt Milano. Watch Milano. He reads this play. He gap exchanges and reads what's going on in front of him. Slides to the other side. Also, you can watch Tim Settle here, showing some really good hustle to chase this down from the back end. Boom. Defending the run with a light box. You get that penetration early, rally, tackle to the football. You see all the Bills defenders swarming. You need good defensive line play against the run in general, but especially when you play with light boxes. This is why so much, and I get people who tweet and go after, Edmonds more than Milano, but even Milano at times be like, oh, the linebackers can't stop the run. It would be amazing if a linebacker was so good that the defensive line play in front of them didn't matter, but it does. Stopping the run and fitting it with a light box like the Bills do, it starts with the defensive line. That's what it is. And when the defensive line executes, shock, the run defense is better. When they don't, the odds of the run defense having success go down. So again, really good play from A.J. Epinesa. Comes in here. So again, watch, this guard is going to pull and this tight end is going to pull. They want to lead this thing out in front. And Epinesa slants inside quickly. Just takes up 2 dudes. Boom. That's it. Settle gets penetration on the backside, forces Herbert to bounce. Team defense. The Bills are going to need this against the Bengals because the Bengals will run, not just in terms of volume, but they'll have success doing it, running out of the gun like I talked about. The one play I showed earlier, the wham, that's just one piece. They'll run crack toss out of this where they'll get somebody cracking here, then they'll loop the tackle around and they'll pitch it to Mixon or Pirine and try and get him out on the edge. They're creative, and they run a lot. of varying combinations from their gun run package. But again, really good play from AJ Epinesa. Wrong arm, gum up the works. Milano flows over, settle, Taryn, boom. Good play. Now, let's keep it going here. Play 2 comes in the third quarter. Again, showing these pieces of what the defensive line can do in terms of being effective against the run. So this one, the Bills have a run stunt. And if you remember what this Bills game was against the Bears, the first 2 drives, not so great against the run. But as the game progressed on, especially in the second half, the Bills were much better against the run. This is the very first defensive play for the Bills in the second half. This set the tone for how the Bills were going to play defense this entire second half against the Bears run game. So you're going to get a run stunt from Shaq Lawson and from Daquan Jones. And all that means is, so, as I go here, you have them highlighted, but Shaq's in this gap, Daquan's in this gap. What you're going to get on the snap, you're going to get them to slant inside. So Shaq's going to take a step and go into here. Daquan is going to go into here. So you just get a little run stunt. You're basically just changing your gaps, right? Watch how silky smooth. Daquan gets penetration too, but Shaq is the big one. He gets in, he gets skinny. And what do we talk about, right? Sometimes you get gouged because of your aggressive nature up front. Sometimes you miss tackles. Other times you get stops and you get tackles for loss, like we showed in that graphic. Watch Shaq Lawson and Daquan Jones. They slant inside. Shaq gets upfield. This is a loss of 7 for the Bears. Show it from the sideline angle too. Here's Shaq Lawson right here. Knifes into the backfield because of this run stunt. Boom. That's what the Bills are going to be. That's who the Bills are. And sometimes, you know what? Because if you're running this play and this is able to get, if Shaq is able to be cut off and they're able to pin this and you out leverage yourself, if they're able to down block this and gum it all up to the point that Montgomery has a one-on-one opportunity, he can get that edge, that's the risk that you run. So when it works, it's beautiful. And sometimes it doesn't. But this is another example of the Bills winning up front. It's something they will need to continue to do because you want to play 2 high looks on the back end. You want to be able to have 2 safeties pre-snap and post potentially, but definitely pre-snap so you can, okay, is it going to be cover 2? Is it going to be cover 4? Is it going to be cover 6? Are they going to spin one down into cover 3? Is it cover 1? Is it going to be some kind of combo coverage? Is there going to be a blitz? Is one of those safeties going to drop and be a robber? Is the whole player going to come from somewhere else? You want all of these things going through the quarterback and offensive coordinator and play caller's mind pre-snap, and then in the quarterback's post-snap, you want all that. And that starts with being able to fit the run from your light boxes. And a big piece of that, again, is the success of the defensive line up front in terms of what they're able to do and what they're able to be. This next one isn't anything sexy or crazy schematically. This is just Matt Milano. This is 3rd and 2. This is Matt Milano blowing up a run. He gets talked about so much in coverage. And like I mentioned earlier, having the 3rd lowest quarterback rating against when targeted, having the 10th lowest reception percentage allowed. Again, both of those amongst linebackers, the 10th lowest reception percentage allowed amongst linebackers. He gets talked about for his coverage piece so much, but he's a dog around the line of scrimmage. I don't use that with just the corny, like, oh, dog, or like whatever. Like, he's violent, he's tenacious, he's relentless around the line of scrimmage and getting into the backfield. And this is an example of it here. This is 3rd and 2. He just clicks, closes, detonates on the fullback and blows this run up. N'Keal Harry right here, he's trying to crack down and pick up Milano. Watch him come down. He's trying to get Milano. He can't because Milano moves so fast, blows this whole play out. Watch it from the end zone angle. Destroys this whole run. This leads to a loss of 1 yard, I believe. So this was 3rd and 2, and it turns into 4th and 3 because Milano just blows this whole thing up. Beautiful run fit. This isn't necessarily game specific. I just wanted to show this play because I love it and thought it was absolutely beautiful from Matt Milano. Let it play as I start to queue up the next one for us here. So the next play that we have also in the 4th quarter, like this Matt Milano play. So I'm going to highlight Gregory Rousseau, and he's the first piece I want to focus on. He's going to get cut block on this play. The Bengals will run screens. They'll run tunnel screens to their wide receivers. They'll run smoke screens to the wide receivers. They'll run screens to the running back. When that happens, you have to be active at the defensive line, the 2nd level, 3rd level, all those pieces, right? Watch Greg Rousseau on this play. Watch as he gets cut. He doesn't take his eyes off the ball. Head up, following the ball, makes a play. His length in his frame shows up. Tremendous hustle, effort. I'm going to slow it down again. So he gets cut. He goes down. Look at him. He's on the ground. His head is up. His eyes are on Fields and on the ball. So as he's getting up, he's tracking the ball. And then you see him take a good angle. That's a key piece too, right? So he doesn't take too flat of an angle so that he can get beat around the corner. He takes a pursuit angle to cut this play off. It also helps when you're huge and you can take like 2 steps and you're already at the sideline. Then he gets to Herbert, and he's got those big, long tree trunks for arms, and he's able to make the play, right? But now, aside from Groot, I want you to watch the rest of this defense. I want you to watch Taron Johnson and Trey White and DeMar Hamlin and Tremaine Edmonds. Watch how fast-flowing this defense is once they see screen, once they see the little dump off. Just look at, especially Taron Johnson, boom, they swarm. Especially Taron Johnson. Number 7, there you go. Just cutting them off, playing your pursuit angles, forcing this back. The Bengals have athletes, whether it's Joe Mixon back there, whether it's Samaje Perine coming out of the backfield. Even Evans is a dude who can make you miss out of the backfield. Or again, the guys on the outside, Chase and Higgins and Boyd, dudes that aren't easy to bring down. You have to rally and tackle. In an ideal world, cool, 1-for-1, guy who gets there first, makes the tackle, cool, done and dusted. It's going to be hard to do when you got plus athletes like that. You need to rally and tackle. You need to make plays. This is Taron Johnson. Just watch him just get out of the, once he reads this, just come screaming towards the sideline. Oh, there it is. Boom. Get through my man. Bang. Rally and tackle. Get to the ball. That's what you need every week, but even more so, again, against athletes of this caliber for the Cincinnati Bengals. You cannot allow them to win. So you get that hustle, you get the flow to the football, speed, athleticism, pursuit angles. You need that consistently. Again, against a team of this caliber in the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go to another play here. This is a tech stunt from Tim Settle and AJ Epinesa. I have the routes highlighted up there for him. So you got Tim Settle right here. You're going to watch him. He's going to go first. He's going to go into that tackle. AJ Epinesa is going to take 1 step forward, and then he's going to cut and loop back inside. So you have the tackle going first, and then you've got the edge. So tech stunt, TE, tackle, end, or tackle edge, whatever you want to label it as. Tackle goes first because the T is before the E, and the edge comes behind him. Really good play to flush Fields from the pocket. And then you've got Matt Milano here. I think he's cluing in on Herbert in the backfield, but Herbert stays in the block. So once that happens, he kind of just plays that zone and spies on Fields. This is a really good rush. Epinesa comes in clean. Fields is a plus athlete, so he makes a play. But look at Milano chop him down in space. You want to get Burrow off the pocket, you got to play games up front. I mean, if you can just win straight up one-on-one and not play games, cool. And you might be able to, given some of the vulnerabilities the Bengals offensive line has shown this year. Play some games. Good stunt, flush him from the pocket, and then look at Milano close. That's not easy. Justin Fields is one of the most electric players in the entire NFL. He's crushing it with his legs. He's run for over 1,000 yards with his legs. He's having a phenomenal year, crushing it anytime he gets in space. And Milano just closes him down, eyes him, keys him. It turns out similar from a result standpoint to what the Bills did against the Chiefs with their odd mirror package and just trying to get Mahomes off the spot. And then Milano is that aggressive spy attacking as soon as you see that. But look at all that space. Milano has to make this play. If Fields breaks this, bro, there's no one there. Now, Burrow isn't the athlete that Fields is, so it's easier to close down on somebody like Joe Burrow. But this is what you want. Play games against the offensive line, right? Really good job from Settle. Watch Settle. He's just going to gum this whole thing up so Epinesa can come here and then loop back through on that tech stunt. And Epinesa sells it well, too. He starts to get upfield, makes that tackle commit so he can help Settle be that spiker and really occupy. So that way he can be the looper and come in clean and come in free. Bang. Okay, doesn't get the sack. Milano cleans it up. Team defense, team defense, team defense, team defense. Now, got another play here. This is the last play we got in the film breakdown from this Bears game. And again, this is relevant again to what you're going to see or what you would want to see against the Cincinnati Bengals. So we've got AJ Epinesa on the left edge there, Greg Rousseau on the right from your vision standpoint here. We're going to continue to talk about it every single week with the absence of Von Miller. Can the Buffalo Bills defense, can they close out games? Who is that closer from the defensive line or the defense in general? Von Miller was brought in to literally be that guy to close out games. We saw him impact the Chiefs game huge and close out the game in a way the Bills couldn't in the playoffs last year, although they still should have won regardless. That's a conversation for another time. But we'll start with AJ Epinesa here on this play because you want to commit as many numbers into coverage as you can against a team with weapons like the Bengals have. So the more numbers you have in coverage, the better. So if you want to drop 7 or even 8, if you could, cool. That gives you the numbers because no matter what, you got 5 offensive linemen and a quarterback. That means on any given play, there's 6 that are right there. 11 minus 6 is 5. The max number that an offense can commit to the route distribution for a pass play is 5 guys. So if you can drop 7, you've got 7 versus 5. You have an extra 2 bodies, just math, right? It helps you with spacing. It helps you with disguising things. It helps you rally and tackle, all of those pieces. So if you can get pressure with just 4 or 3, that works. What's nice about this one, this is towards the end of the game. This is similar to that odd mirror package the Bills ran against the Kansas City Chiefs, where, again, you got 3 down linemen. Matt Milano's here as that aggressive spy. And you're looking to kind of just create problems for Fields. And there's Milano. He's up at the line of scrimmage. He's acting as that aggressive spy. As soon as Fields gets off his spot, Milano's going to attack. But he doesn't even need to because Epinesa bears down, no pun intended, right on Fields. So again, you get that odd mirror look. You get that 3 down. Matt Milano's going to sit here. He's going to spy Fields. He's close to the line of scrimmage. And wherever Fields starts to release to get off his spot, Milano's closing. He's beelining for him right away. But the highlight here, we'll watch AJ Epinesa here on the line first. Watch the quick get off. The snap has happened. He's already out of his stance and attacking. The ball just got snapped. The offensive linemen, these guys on the right side are a little bit, these guys aren't even out of their stance yet, right? And AJ Epinesa is already crossing the line of scrimmage. It's one of his strengths. Watch him get upfield. Look at the lean. Gets in that lean and gets the extension. Look at that's a bad line that I drew. The form there, right? He's got the lean. He's got the leverage advantage. Gets underneath his man. And then watch the long arm. He's completely controlling him. Completely controlling his man. Collapses the pocket. Gets around the arc. And gets the sack. We'll watch it in real time so you can just see how fast he closes him down. Leverage, long arm, bang. But now let's go to the other side, to Mr. Gregory Rousseau, who's highlighted on the right side. Watch Rousseau get into his man. Here, this is the piece right here. I'm going to highlight it and cover it. So Rousseau's left arm on the right arm of the offensive tackle, watch him get underneath that arm, literally lift it. Completely off platform, completely off balance for that tackle, and Rousseau just drives him and collapses him. If Epinesa doesn't get this sack, Rousseau gets it. And this is with a 3-man rush. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Who closes out these games? Again, this is second down on one of the final drives for the Bears. You're looking for somebody to just end this game, even though the game looked pretty in hand. Epinesa and Rousseau start to give you that. That's a tremendous rep from both those guys, winning in different ways. One more time in slow-mo. Choose whoever you want to look at. We'll focus on Epinesa on the left side again one more time. Beautiful leverage, long arm, drives his man, gets around the arc. And then Rousseau on the other side. This is very hard. Right here, latches with that left arm. And then look at, again, even he's not a bendy guy, but look at the ankle flexion and his ability to get some lean. The torque that he creates and the leverage advantage he creates because of his size, that's not easy. And then because he's able to get underneath at that size, now he can lift and control and drive. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.